Hello everyone, Max here. Hope you all are doing well. This summer I took a trip back to Portland, Oregon, a city which I grew up in for several years. During this time I made a visit to the Oregon Rail Heritage Center, which houses a collection of railroad artifacts and equipment. With all the footage I took there, I thought it would be interesting to do a virtual tour of the museum, giving brief details on several display pieces. I hope you enjoy. Right outside of the museum's main building is their turntable project. Originally built in 1925 for the Brooklyn Yard Roundhouse, it was later used to store the steam locomotives owned by the city of Portland. In 2012, when the roundhouse was demolished, the turntable was disassembled and moved to the museum, and is in the final stages of installation. At the entrance to the turntable is Oregon Railroad and Navigation 197, built in 1905 by Baldwin. It worked in passenger service around Portland, and in 1923 was rebuilt with a new Vanderbilt-type tender after being acquired by Union Pacific. In 1985, the UP donated 197 to Portland for display in Oaks Park, until it was moved in 1996 for operational restoration. As of 2023, there is still quite an amount of work needed to be done on the locomotive, but recently a major matching grant has helped speed up the progress, with the museum wanting to have 197 pull future excursions along the Oregon Pacific Railroad. Right behind 197 is another Baldwin locomotive, Spokane, Portland, and Seattle 700, built in 1938. It was used for overnight passenger trains through the Columbia River Gorge, until being retired in 1956. Not wanting to be outdone by Union Pacific, SP&S donated 700 to be displayed alongside the 197. In 1987, the newly formed Pacific Railroad Preservation Association began restoration on the 700, and since 1990 has been powering excursions throughout the Pacific Northwest. Over the last few years, 700 has been undergoing its 1472-day inspection, but is now very close to returning to steam. Of course, no trip to the museum can be completed without looking at America's most beautiful locomotive, and that is Southern Pacific 4449, built in 1941 by Lima. It first worked on the SP's streamlined Coast Daylight between Los Angeles and San Francisco, until later being reassigned to other trains on the Sunset and Golden State routes. Eventually being downgraded to just black paint and freight service, it was finally retired in 1957. Like 197 and 700, it was put on display the following year in Oaks Park, but was chosen in 1974 to hold the American Freedom Train throughout the United States. Since its cross-country journey, it has become a steam excursion star, including a trip to Hollywood in 1986 to appear in the Disney film Tough Guys. In recent years, it has been used for the museum's Holiday Express fundraiser trains. Displayed near 4449 is a massive information board of the American Freedom Train, with a map of the route and recreation of the train set in N-scale. Being also a place to do maintenance on the locomotives, at the back half of the building is the workshops, which include lathes, presses, and boring machines. Sometimes visitors can get the opportunity to see the locomotive crews in action, such as welding and priming. Sitting over the inspection pit is Polson Logging 2, built in 1912 by Baldwin. It worked for several logging companies in Washington, before being sold into preservation in 1962. It moved between tourist railroads and museums in the Midwest, before returning to the Pacific Northwest in 2017. It spent sporadic operations on the Oregon Coast Scenic Railroad until 2021, when it was purchased by the Albany and Eastern Railroad. Currently, it is on extended stay at the Oregon Rail Heritage Center for excursions, until the museum's recently acquired Shea locomotive, Mount Emily Lumber Company 1, arrives, which is expected to be early next year. At the end of my visit, I swung by the museum's gift shop and purchased this amazing book on the daylight passenger trains. Who knows? It might assist me with a future video project. Thank you all so much for watching. If you'd like to see more tour videos like this, do let me know. Personally, I found it more exciting to research than just putting a bunch of B-roll footage together. This is Click Clack Track, signing off.